Watch this.
Half the time I feel like I'm going to be late for class because of how many people I'm talking to, which in years past has never been a thing for me.
That might be what many in the West Ada School District consider a good problem. Increasing social interaction for students was kind of the point of decreasing cell phone use at school. We check in to see how it's working for everyone. Idaho's namesake naval ship is kind of in its toddler phase, taking its first steps, or glides, seeing how it can handle itself in open water. Today, we're getting a time-lapse glimpse of those first steps. All right, if our math is correct, Rick Lantz has given us the weather more than 30,000 times over 42 years. Well, as we wind down to his final forecast, we're sharing the sentiments from those of you who saw a lot of them.
It's been fantastic. I mean, I got to say that I'm so impressed with the teachers. They understand the importance of it, and I feel like our parents and our students see the importance of it.
And they've seen it for a couple of years now at Mountain View High School. They were a little ahead of the curve when it comes to limiting cell phone use in the classroom and on campus. But this fall, that cell phone policy went district-wide, covering all West Ada schools. And so how has it been for the newbies, the schools cracking down on the cell phone use in class this year? How has the ban been for students or for teachers 6 weeks into the school year? It was supposed to limit distractions and increase social interactions. Well, Aspen Shumpert finds out if it has.
Classrooms are now a little louder at Meridian High.
Students are talking to people that maybe they wouldn't before and forming friendships, and I think that's really cool.
Students say that's thanks to the new cell phone ban during class time. Phones need to be off and in the vault or their backpacks.
The kids know to come in and put their phone there.
Students weren't fans of the ban at first.
My initial thought was, why couldn't this wait one more year until after I graduate?
And teachers prepared for pushback.
Would it work? Am I going to have to be like a policeman with the phones? What if a kid says no?
But everyone's in agreement. It's made a night and day difference.
It's really helped the sense of community come back.
Instead of grabbing their phones during downtime, they're talking to their peers.
I'm asking about soccer games. They're asking about my softball, and I'm like, this is new, this is different.
I'll be walking down the hall and I'll see 5 people and give them high fives and be like, hey, how's your day going?
It's different.
Chad Bloxham has been a teacher at Meridian High for 18 years.
You've kind of really seen this evolution of the cell phones.
Yeah, so when I started in '07, I'd say probably 1 out of every 5 kids had a cell phone. Then they started to grow and flip and do all those things.
He was also teaching during COVID.
COVID kind of was a weird time for us where we didn't have as much social interaction, so phones became a way to get that social interactions.
They say cell phones became a comfort item.
Everyone is trying all these things to get back to the old ways, but nothing was really working, and I feel like this has been the first year of school that has truly felt like school, honestly.
Even back in '07, it was, a lot of interaction, noisy classrooms. When we came back from COVID, you didn't have a lot of kids saying anything to each other. So you weren't having to tell kids to quiet down. We were having to tell kids to speak up and interact.
Today, teachers are no longer fighting for students' attention.
Do you feel like that's been beneficial?
I think so. I remember a couple years ago, teachers would ask questions and we all just sit in silence, and a lot of kids would be on their phones. But now we ask questions and there's actual discussions happening in the classrooms rather than just the awkward silence.
Are the classrooms loud now?
I was just going to say that. It feels like a stadium, like I'm at a BSU game sometimes. Just only when the kids are before break. Of course, they're not disrespectful. It's they're excited, they're talking.
Being able to bring that back.
These 3 Meridian High seniors are wishing they could have said TTYL to their phones earlier.
So it sounds like you've kind of gone through ups and downs your 4 years in high school, but you're ending on a high.
Yes. Definitely.
I know, I just wish this had happened my freshman year.
The West Ada School District left it up to individual schools on whether or not they'll allow students to use their phones during breaks, which Meridian High does allow. We also checked in with Twin Falls School District, who also started the year with a cell phone ban district-wide. But for the entire days, which means not in between classes or lunch, students are not allowed to have their cell phones. The superintendent tells us leading up to the first day of school, there was some anxiousness and a little bit of pushback from students, but that quickly changed.
the kids have really settled in, and just walking through the buildings now, it's kind of remarkable to see more conversation happening between kids. When you go into the lunchroom, you're seeing kids converse more. And I think kids, although they probably all don't love the new policy, I think even they would admit that it's better, not constantly, being tied to social media and texting and everything else that goes along with it.
All right, so we heard from a handful of them. Were you surprised that they're all loving it?
Yes and no. Surprised to hear that they really are accepting it and appreciate it. But then also when we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, we heard from parents like, well, I want to be able to talk to my kids. So I feel like the pushback was coming more from parents. But you could see that, you put some guardrails on the kids. Like, oh, how are they going to do this? You can't just take it away from them. They're used to it. It works. And they actually like it.
Yes, and that was brought up in our conversation today. The teacher told us, if there's an emergency or they need to figure something out, we let them go on it for 2 minutes or whatever.
The phone's right there.
Yes.
They can get it if they need to.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so that's interesting to hear them say that this is actually, we appreciate this, and now it's kind of like it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Aspen. Good check-in. All right, USS Idaho is deep into stage 4 of its lifespan. There are 5 significant stages for a ship to become a U.S. official warship in the Navy. The first coming up with a name, which happened nearly 10 years ago when they decided to dub the 26th Virginia-class submarine the USS Idaho. Then came the construction with the official keel-laying ceremony. That began in 2020. The third is the christening, and that happened just back in March. And then last month, the USS Idaho launched into its 4th stage. Joe Paris, I guess it's time to check in with you to see what the latest is with USS Idaho.
Yes, this is a very exciting time for Idahoans and military and submarine aficionados, Brian, because the USS Idaho, technically called SSN 799, it launched for the float off, entering the Thames River from the General Dynamics Electric Boat Shipyard. And leaders there say that this is the major milestone for one of these years-long projects that we continue to follow. So the USS Idaho was christened in Connecticut with a bottle filled with water from several Idaho lakes, officially named on March 16th. Now is the float off. You're taking a look at it right now. The submarine taking on water for the very first time to begin final outfitting, testing, and the crew certification. Leaders there in Connecticut were excited, and here in the Gem State with the USS Idaho Commissioning Committee, they followed along in Connecticut. So that include retired U.S. Navy Captain Richard Colburn, who's the chairman of the board for the USS Idaho Commissioning Committee. I asked him as he went to Connecticut, is this like watching your kids go off to college?
It kind of is. It really is. I mean, there's still a lot of work that has to be done on the submarine. They're still finishing the construction on the interior of the ship and doing a lot of the testing and, grooming of all the electronic equipment. So there's still a lot of work to be done. But it was great to see this major milestone. The video is only a couple of minutes, but the process started at about 6 o'clock in the morning and went well past 6 o'clock at night. So we were there for 8 or so hours, and so it's in some respects it's kind of like watching paint dry. But if you've been in the Navy for a long time, you understand all the intricacies and everything that's going on. So even though it does take a long time, it's still pretty exciting.
Construction and the ideas for all this date back several years, but USS Idaho is set to be the 26th Virginia-class fast attack submarine to join the fleet and the 5th United States Navy ship named for the state of Idaho. The last ship named after Idaho was a battleship, BB-42, and that was commissioned in 1919. Things have certainly changed since, and new technology on this version has strong Idaho ties.
This is a nuclear-powered submarine, the nuclear technology of which came from the Advanced Test Reactor at the Idaho National Lab. And it's one of the quietest ships ever to be built. That acoustic stealth technology was developed in Lake Pend Oreille at the Acoustic Research Attachment. So the two most important things in submarine construction are acoustic stealth and nuclear technology, and both of those things come from Idaho.
So that's pretty cool. It's not just Idaho in name. And this type of submarine is extremely advanced. They, again, have that advanced stealth movement, surveillance tools, special warfare enhancements. And the shipbuilder says that the Virginia-class sub is designed to remain state-of-the practice for its entire operational life, meaning it's going to be a top-end submarine for a long time. But what happens next?
We expect the commissioning to be in the late 2025 or early 26. The next major milestone is what they call habitability. It's when the crew moves on to board the ship After that will be sea trials, and then the official delivery of the submarine from the electric boat to the Navy, and then the commissioning, which is when it officially joins the fleet. And that's when the commissioning committee, that's our main event, if you will, and we'll be hosting several events there, and we're hoping that several hundred people from Idaho will be out in Groton to witness this historic event.
Boy, Brian, I hope that I can make it out to Groton, Connecticut, because it would be very cool to be on this USS Idaho.
In Groton, not Groton, the whole thing. It was cool, though, that they had a couple of these sailors that were in Idaho last year to kind of take a tour of the state to learn about the state that they're representing.
Yeah, it's not just, oh, we're going to name it Idaho and move on.
Right.
It is an Idaho submarine.
Yeah, so maybe you can go, again, maybe we'll get some people out there to
Brian, we'll go on a
push it
road trip. Come on, we'll drive there.
We'll just, long drive. Thanks, Joe. 42 years has come down to just one day. One more weather forecast. That will be tonight for Idaho's chief meteorologist, Rick Lantz. So we're sending him into retirement with the well wishes you sent us, and fittingly, sending him off in style. Something recognized by Janet from Eagle. Come September 1st, I will miss all of Rick Lantz's colorful jackets, ties, and pocket squares. And I will miss Rick most of all. Frank just loves Rick's ties. Lynn in Marsing says, Rick's style is like ZZ Top, cause every girl's crazy about a sharp-dressed man. One of our loyal viewers, Bud in Boise, says, Rick was the most professional and best dressed in all the time I've watched. Rick, enjoy your retirement as much as I've enjoyed mine. And finally, Susan in Meridian is in the denial phase a little bit. She says, now that you're retiring, Rick, you have lots of free time, so would you mind stopping by our house every day to give us the weather information? You know, you can even pick a time that works best for you. I just can't imagine getting weather info from anyone but you. If you want to send Rick your well wishes, text them to us. Or you can text us anything about today's show, 208-321-5614. Include your name and the hashtag the 208. That way we know it's for us and for Rick. Brian Koberger appeared in Ada County Court today, and a Boise Neighborhood Association is taking the city to the state Supreme Court over a homeless shelter. Abby Davis has the latest on the legal system and other 208 news in today's 411.
It looks like the June 2025 date is off the table for Brian Koberger's murder trial. Koberger is accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students in fall 2022. He was in Ada County Court today for the first time for a status conference to determine the timeline for hearings. Ada County District Judge Stephen Hippler doesn't think the original June date is a good time for jurors, so he's proposing before summer in May or after summer in September. The prosecution prefers May, but the defense wants more time to go through discovery and to work with experts. We're still waiting on the official decision, which will likely come down in a written order. Canyon County Sheriff Kieran Donahue clarified there is not a Venezuelan gang in Canyon County. Donahue says he spoke to a national reporter last month about having knowledge that the gang had crossed into Idaho to commit crimes. But he says he did not say the gang is operating or committing those crimes in Canyon County. He says there have been no confirmed reports of Venezuelan gang activity in Canyon County or anywhere else in the Treasure Valley.
Ideally, this is a parcel that could be developed for more housing rather than shelter.
The Veterans Park Neighborhood Association is challenging the planned move by Interfaith Sanctuary to State Street in Boise. Interfaith Sanctuary started renovations on the old Salvation Army building in April of last year. The construction faces State Street and backs up to Veterans Park neighborhood. The association says the city did not comply with code when approving the shelter's move. The association, City of Boise, and Interfaith Sanctuary can make statements and answer questions in court on October 11th. And that's the 411 on the 208. I'm Abby Davis.
Yeah, we've certainly been through a lot of weather together with Idaho's chief meteorologist. After 42 years, fond farewells and congratulations are in order. He's been bringing us the weather forecast almost as long as Teresa has been in Boise, so it will seem very strange to not see him presenting the weather. Such a great professional and a fun demeanor. Best wishes, Rick. Jill in Boise has known Rick for a long time. She said, "I came to Boise in the early 80s as a single mother with a toddler and a baby. The Channel 7 crew helped me become comfortable with my surroundings. Thank you, Dee, Carolyn, Larry, Mark, and of course, Rick." Skip in Mountain Home wants to thank you, Rick, for all that you've done. We've depended on your forecast for many years, so now, come on out. The water's fine. Happy retirement. Jeff in Boise concurs. He retired a few years ago and says, "It's everything it's cracked up to be." We'll take your well wishes for Rick or anything else you'd like to consider for the show. 208-321-5614. Include your name and the hashtag the 208, and we still have some time to share yours at the end of the show.
temperatures are about 10 to 15 degrees cooler today than they were yesterday. However, we do have another warm up on the way, so more of those summer-like temperatures will be returning starting tomorrow, and they will peak on Saturday before we get another cool down. But here's where those high temperatures stand right now. You can see close to the lower 80s in some of those valley spots and close to that 80-degree mark over in the Magic Valley, with 70s and the high 60s in the mountains at the moment. So overall, as we look ahead to the next few days, again today we're on a little bit on the cooler side, a little bit more mild, but more hot conditions will return tomorrow as we get the valleys closer to that 85-degree mark. Saturday, our temperatures will be so warm that it will be near records. Then we do cool down a little bit more so on Sunday, but you can see how hot it's expected to get on Saturday, again, which is near records. There's the cool down on Sunday, but overall for tomorrow, you can expect more of those warm temperatures continuing, ample sunshine. We do have a little bit of a cool start, especially in Stanley, where that low was looking to be close to the freezing mark. And you can see up for the upper 30s in some spots like McCall, but overall, a cool start in the morning, warming up to something that feels a little bit closer to summer in the afternoon hours. And throughout your 7-day forecast, you'll find more of those warm temperatures. However, very, very possible that it's the last time we see the 90-degree mark over in the Treasure Valley on Saturday for the season, at least before temperatures cool back down in the latter part of your 7-day forecast.
I thought you were going to go with a different direction there. The last time we see this
you know
guy.
what?
I thought that's where you were going, but that's close. But not quite yet. You're not finished just yet, Rick.
I'm within the 7 days. But
you are within the 7 days.
You're within the 7 hours.
You're within the 7 days. I was just going to say that.
What's left.
So we've been sharing some of these messages that you have been sending in all week, and thank you very much for that. For the 42 years that you have been here, Rick. And so we thought we would just kind of send you off today here on the 208 with sharing a few more of those, some of the ones that people sent in, because you have meant a lot to so many people all over the Treasure Valley, all over southern Idaho. I mean, you're Idaho's chief meteorologist.
But doesn't that tell you that Brian can say nice things on this show?
Wow.
Come on, you guys. He's really great.
I was so excited to see what you were going to say. What else you got for him? No. They can't fire you now. What else you got?
Let's get to some of those nice things. It took other people to write them for me.
Let's be clear. Brian didn't write these.
Exactly. Like Vicky in Ontario. She said this. I want to know about this. You put Ontario on the map, she says, on the weather map, because this is your hometown. Will it stay on the map, Ontario, when you leave?
Ontario always will.
Yes.
You know, Ontario is always, it's always one of those great spots in the Treasure Valley. I will have to tell you a secret, right? Whenever storms come into the valley, we check to see what happened to Ontario.
True.
And then we know what's coming over this way.
And
those poor folks over, they get the big hit.
Most of the time they get kicked pretty hard sometimes.
They do.
It's pretty amazing.
And more so of all those storms.
I know. All right, Terry in Boise said this. Thanks, Rick. For all of the forecasts through the years, besides your car collection, you must have a huge suit jacket collection as well. She wants you to enjoy retirement. So yes, the story behind the coats.
Well, I'll tell you, coming up in the next week or so, I have to put time aside. Tammy's been telling me we've got to get rid of some of that stuff. So that's what we're going to be
How much space do you take up in the closet?
How many closets do you have?
I hate to even get into this, but I think in our house,
I would love to know.
Yeah, I know.
Tell
We've
us.
got a walk-in closet, and I've got to say that I take just about all that up.
Wow. All right.
And then there's a couple of other closets that I split with her. And she's like, come on, it's time to go with some of this stuff.
So she wants her closet space back.
She wants it back.
How did you settle on your final outfit?
I retire and she gets it back. I decided to go conservative.
Nice.
You know, more than anything else, because I've got the red jackets, I've got all these things, but I decided don't do that today.
So check the local thrift stores for some of your threads coming up here the next week. Okay. All right, Dan.
Brian's going to scoop
Dan
them
in
up.
Boise. Rick was sporting a snazzy tie. What's on the name tag? So you guess you took that off today, but yeah, it just said your name, retired soon, right?
Yeah.
Is that the one that you had
the one that I
name
got,
tag you've been wearing the last couple of days?
Bob Kruger, who was the station manager for so many years here, so many of you probably know him, he bought that for me. And so I decided I probably should just go ahead and use that for days and days and days. And then it got just kind of difficult to put on.
Yeah, that's true. Putting holes in all those coats.
Kind of almost broke it. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so another viewer wants to know, like, what are you going to do with your days now that you're not focused on the weather? Are you going to stay focused on the weather, putting highs and lows like on your wall at home?
I'm going to try my best. You know, I'm going to try my best to sit through a snowstorm and not try to look at, okay, what's happening here and why do I have to worry about this? Okay. Some things happen, and you know, like with thunderstorms and different things like that. So I'm going to try to mellow out just a little bit on this.
Why don't I just send you little updates? That way you don't have to do it, but you still get the information.
I'm going to try to mellow out on this.
No, don't worry.
Not only gets
He'll have push alerts.
Everybody gets the push alerts.
He'll get the push
You're
alerts.
not special anymore,
Very
Rick.
true.
That's right.
All right, finally, Carolyn in Caldwell said, Rick, my husband and I, my hubby and I, started watching you 42 years ago, right after we were married. It's almost like you're part of our family.
Aww.
She wishes you good luck on your retirement and hopefully living your best life.
You know, I got to tell you about this because I've been married for almost 40 years now. And Tammy, when we started to see each other, I brought her into the studio. And so everybody said, have you given him an office yet? And I've always been out here in the studio. But this studio here, I can't tell you how much it really means to me for all the years, how it's been a part of the family. But above anything else, I think you hit it. You guys too.
Yeah.
You know, being around here all those years, 7 and the numbers that we've had, we knew you were there. And sometimes you were kind of silent and all these things, but still at the same time, thank you so much for being there for us all these years and continue to do so, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, you guys.
All right, let's keep with the Rick Lantz theme to end this Thursday edition of the 2-8. This one from Judy and Emmett said, you know, when my son was getting married in my yard, well, his bride was afraid it was going to rain. I kept telling her, Rick said it wouldn't. And you know what? It didn't until it was all over. So there you go. Rick nailed it. Nailed the forecast that day. Thanks from Judy and Emmett. We're going to miss you, Rick. I'm retired now. You're going to love it. But when I was working, to come home and turn on the news and weather and took the stress off my shoulders. Thanks for providing that sense of calm, says Jeff in Boise. I moved to Boise in 1976, said Mary Jane. There was Rick Lantz professionally giving us the weather every day in those amazing suits. I will miss you. Hey, Rick, thanks from all the ski bums in Sun Valley for your accurate forecast on your power days. You're the best. We'll see you tomorrow.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.